everybody. Okay, so this is my kitchen. I do have to leave for an appointment at 9:15. Oh, thank you for inviting your followers, Diane. So what I have here is my pressure cooker bone broth, which has been cooking all night. I threw everything in here before I went to bed because we're running low on stock. And then it kept warm until now, until I'm ready to strain it. And so I have done a Periscope before. Oh, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle Tam with Nom Nom Paleo. You can find me on the web at nomnompaleo.com. Someone said they got an Instant Pot on Black Friday, which is it was the most amazing deal. Like $78 is a steal. And so this is actually, I have two Instant Pots. I have a 6-in-1 and then I have a Smart Pot. Or I have the older, 6-in-1 cooker, which I kind of use them interchangeably when I make soup just because it's whichever one is clean. So if you look here, I've basically filled it to the top with bones, water. I put a little bit of fish sauce. I put in an onion. I think I cut up a carrot and I threw in like a giant shiitake mushroom. There is no kind of set way that I make it. I do have a recipe on my blog. If you look up quick pressure cooker bone broth or just pressure cooker bone broth and Nom Nom Paleo. Now it's ready for me. So when it's ready, even though it's warm, you can actually kind of still take it out with your hands. I think my hands are kind of impervious to pain at this point. So I have this big pot of broth. Oh yes, someone says the OXO one. So this is how I normally used to store them, which is still a great method. I think these silicone holders are fantastic. The only thing is if you use them to store broth, they start to smell like broth, but it's okay. I don't make cakes in them, so I don't really mind. But the only issue with these is that they're floppy, and so you have to put them on a tray, and you have to have a freezer that can accommodate whatever tray you're going to put in. But then there's no lid, and so if it's not super level, it can spill and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I discovered that OXO has these cool ice cube molds, so I'm going to try this out for the first time today. But it has like a little base, which is cool, and it has a lid, so hopefully it doesn't spill and you can stack them on top of each other. So I'm really excited to try these out. I did have one reader because I had mentioned that I wanted to try these out, and I saw on Amazon there were like no reviews. I think there are 2 reviews now, but some people had said that it takes longer to freeze when it's covered, which makes sense. But I'm actually okay with that because I kind of just leave them in my outside freezer for a while. And then someone else had said if you freeze them or if you fill them too high, it's hard to take the cover off, which makes sense because when liquids freeze, they expand. And so if you put them way up to the top, it'll freeze with the lid stuck on top. So I think those are 2 caveats that you need to remember. But I'm gonna try these out and I think they'll turn out pretty well. So I'm gonna show you how I actually strain my bone broth really quick. I'm sorry if I can't answer all your questions. A lot of times when I'm doing these by myself, it's hard to, I'm really not a good multitasker, and I think there's a big shine in my outside window, so let's try to do this. There's still a big shine. Oh well, whatever. If you guys can't see this properly, I'm sorry. So, actually I'm gonna run and just put down the shade really quick. All right, I'm back. I think that's a little better. So I'm gonna show you guys here. So in this sink, I have a Vitamix container, your biggest pitcher, but this happens to be my biggest pitcher. I have 2, one that I use for, everyday cooking, and then one when I have to take pictures, because this one is totally speckled, and Henry gets really mad that I use a speckled blender container because he's like, oh, then I have to do all this Photoshop to clean it up. So this is the one I use to strain bone broth and when I'm just blending things for our family. So then I'm going to use my big pot of bone broth here. Oh, this is the most amazing strainer. I don't know what brand this is, but if you go to my blog post about how to store and freeze bone broth, I link to all these things. So if you want to know which brand I use, this is the one I use. It's super sturdy. I've been using it forever. After I'm done straining stuff, I can throw this into the dishwasher, which is really cool. And it's a really fine mesh. So basically all I do, and hopefully I don't spill and make a big mess, is I just pour this in until it gets to pretty much the top. See, if you look in here, there's still a bunch of bones. The bones I try not to kind of dump in the first pass. And so then what I do is my first batch that I pour off normally has most of the fat on top. And so I will put that in a big container that I will store in the fridge. And this is the amount that I can use in a few days. And this way, most of the fat is in this container, and I can like scoop it off really easily. I don't like to immediately pour it into the ones that go in the freezer, because then sometimes there's a big fat cap, and you know, sometimes you don't want all that fat and stuff you're quickly defrosting. Someone says, can't wait to get cooking with my Instant Pot. Yeah, I mean, or any pressure cooker. Pressure cookers are amazing. I like the Instant Pot because it is programmable, and you know, it can cook while I'm sleeping. So if you see here, there's like a layer of fat on the top. Hopefully I'm gonna just try to pour that all off in here. Yeah, this will be in the refrigerator and it'll harden. And if I don't want the fat on top, I can scoop it off once it's hardened. This is like my first pass. And then the rest I'm gonna freeze. So this, I don't know how many cups this is, but this will make a nice soup later in the week. And if you've been following me on Instagram, I'm at Nom Nom Paleo on Instagram. I've been making a lot of soup lately, and basically I just use a few frozen cubes and whatever leftovers I have, I throw them in a pot, and that is soup. Because I have a bunch, I've been making stir fries and soup lately, and you can make a really yummy soup by combining your leftover stir fry and your soup. So the bones I have in here are pork neck bones, which I like a lot because the meat on it, well, first of all, they're very cheap. These are all pastured, this is all from pastured pork. And I get this, I ordered through Good Eggs because they have a bunch of really great farmers that sell through there, and they come right to my house. Okay, so if you look here, oh, and the other thing I like about neck bones is that the meat is really good after you've cooked it for a long time. It's really super tender and yummy and not dry and powdery. So I really like that. So I'm actually going to reserve these bones and pick off the meat later. And if you look here, all the stuff that's reserved in there, I have like my giant shiitake mushroom, the carrots, the onions, and the bones. I probably won't eat the vegetables. I'm just going to pick the meat off the bones and keep them in a separate container. And that actually might be one of our quick soups, is I'll have all of this leftover pork, the broth, and I'll throw in some vegetables. And you can throw that into the Instant Pot for super fast soup. I think depending, you just time it based on whatever, oh, and I'm just going to dump it back in the pot. Whatever vegetable takes the longest to cook, that's how long you time it. And for me, normally carrots are the thing that takes the longest, which is about 7 minutes. And that is how long I cook it. So now I have these little containers. Can you guys see this? I'm going to point this so you can see it. And then I'm going to pour it. And so why I love using this, the Vitamix container, is it's perfect for pouring. So I'm just going to fill them up. My aim is never perfect. And I'm going to just fill them up about 3/4 full, because I know that liquids expand when they freeze. And that's about it. So I think that if you saw here, these Vitamix containers, I think are, I'll double check, but I think they're like 7-cup containers. So I've made like 14 cups of soup, I think. on it. And awesome. I think I will have 3 trays of soup that will be frozen. And someone asked me how I reheat this. I just throw the frozen cubes, and then the extra I'm going to put in this extra pot. And that's it. So let me just double check. So there's 8 cups in here, but I think I probably just filled it to the 7-cup mark. So I've made about, I don't know, 15 cups of soup, and it all cooked while I was sleeping. How much is each cube cup-wise? Huh. I don't know. I can measure it later. I know these ones are 1/3 cup. So I'm assuming these are about 1/4 cup or less. I can measure that later, but now it's too late. But this one will go in my fridge once it's cooled, and I will hopefully use it up in the next 2 days. And then these ones I'm going to cover and freeze, and that is that. And so that is how I do it. It's super easy. So I'm telling you, if you guys have a pressure cooker or an electric pressure cooker, you should definitely make soup while you're sleeping, because then you can do this. And I have time now to go to my appointment. That's all. I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't, because I just hop on and I do these helpful cooking tips. The kids and I are going to do a giveaway on Periscope either later today or this weekend. So if you follow me and you get a notification, you can hop on, and we're going to be giving away like signed cookbooks and dolls and socks. And that is it. Have a great Friday, and I will chat with you guys soon. Bye.